Gribbs, first padded practice in the books. What did you see from the Browns in the rains in Berea?
Well, I think the play kind of matched the weather conditions. I think it was a tough practice. I think I was talking to someone earlier that in my years with the Browns, I don't know if I've seen them practice through that hard of a rainstorm. And I think it's a combination of maybe a mentality and also logistics. You can't really just pop into the field house right now. But I think it was for the offense, just not a lot of balls hitting the ground. And then even for the defense, there were some moments where some big plays could have been had by the offense, but the execution just wasn't there. And I expect the Browns to kind of bounce back in a bigger way at Tuesday's practice. But it's one of those conditions you got to get used to. It's been hot. These guys have all been home and going outside when the weather's nice. I mean, I'm sure a lot of these guys haven't played football in the rain since we were down in Cincinnati back there at the end of the 2019 season.
So a lot of times when the pads come on, they say the defense is expected to be ahead, the conditions added up, but it was a good day for the defense. What stood out to you about the Browns defense in their, what I would call pretty dominant performance over the offense?
Yeah, I thought that the big question mark about this team is the linebackers, and I thought that they were solid. I think that there was a play that Taki, I think, burst through the line, and the defense just went absolutely nuts. And I think that the intensity that I'm liking from that defense has been great. I mean, they're screaming from the sidelines. They're getting pumped for each other. And I like that they're getting excited about some of these new players. Whenever you see Kevin Johnson make plays, they're getting really excited. I always like the players that you can see that they get bigger reactions from their teammates. And what I liked was that you've got a couple starters not practicing on Monday in Myles Garrett and Carl Joseph. And Chad Thomas is filling in nicely on the defensive line. And then Grant Delpit, we got to see our first exposure of him kind of moving all over the defense. Saw him as a strong safety. You got to see him line up as a free safety. And, I got to be honest, the guy looks good in pads. I mean, this is someone that I'm excited to see play for the Browns, not just this year, but for years to come.
Was that Grant who laid a little bit of a hit in there? Because it might have been one way, hey, let's just back off a little bit. But there was a big hit over the middle. I thought it was Grant. I'm not sure.
Yeah, there was some moments where I think Taywan Taylor's his biggest catch of the day. That was one where I was like, ooh, if that was live, that could have been kind of a highway collision. I think between him and Sendejo out there.
Yep.
I mean, that's where it's always tough to judge, even in a padded practice, because you're not going fully live, just how these plays would have wrapped up. And that's why I think offensively, it might have been a what we think is a sloppy day for them, but you can never tell just how quite well the running game is working, because those plays really don't go to their full extent, because I'm confident that they're going to figure out what to do with running the football with this team this year.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And you mentioned those linebackers. Mack Wilson, it was fired up from the get-go. Maybe a little bit too fired up, had to be reined in by Kevin Stefanski, but certainly he shot the gap, made some plays. But then obviously the one everybody's going to talk about, sideline with Nick Chubb being evaluated for a possible concussion.
Yeah, it's just not something you want to see, and I think it's a learning moment for Mack Wilson. There's a level of intensity you want to see big effort from everyone on the field, and I think that when you're playing the game, emotions can sometimes get the best of you, or you're just so into the moment in the play you forget that you're playing a different style of football when you're on the practice field. But there's nothing but respect between Mack and Nick Chubb as well. Mack just the other day just called Nick Chubb the best running back in the NFL until he's proven otherwise. So I expect Mack, I'm sure, feels bad about it, but we're hoping that Nick gets back on the field soon enough, because both those guys, Mack and Nick, they're very important to what the Browns are doing this year.
No doubt about it. Through 3 days, what's kind of stood out to you, or who maybe I should say has stood out to you? So maybe some under the radar players that have caught your eye.
Well, I think the guy that keeps getting talked about is Kevin Johnson, and I think that he is someone that he was amid the many free agent signings the Browns made this offseason, not the biggest name one. But when it comes to pedigree, this is a former first-round talent who finally played a full 16-game season last year and really believes that his best football is in front of him. And I think that the slot corner is so important to defenses today. You know what you have on the outside with Denzel and Greedy. If you can get a player playing at a first-round talent kind of level in the slot,